prepared.
Quest is on.
We're in search for all things parenting. We hear from the kids, from the professionals, and from you, real parents on real issues. It's all happening right here, right now on Care.
Care, the adventures of parenting.
Hi, welcome to Care. Today it's all about special needs. I'm joined by three beautiful ladies. Michelle Foreman, Autism Spirit, Rachel Wilson, Laura Eskai, Cause and Effect. It's all about children with special needs today. Before we get in to their discussion, I want to lead off with some parenting news. We took to the streets to find out what their views were on children with special needs in the education system. Let's hear what they had to say.
They're not supposed to be in this system because they have schools for them. So you can't be bringing them here. Because the teachers are them not. You keep to deal with children like them. And then they're not supposed to be around children like these because of the situation.
No, they don't.
They need to be a part of the regular school so that they can be integrated into society as normal, because they are normal human beings. The special needs that make them different or less able than anybody else.
Wowzers.
Teachers need to be trained how to deal with them. Administration is a problem.
Teachers may not be too much trained, right, to deal with some of the issues that these students are having. So a little greater need is required in the schools to assist teachers in assisting the students who are in need of help.
So who wants to go first to comment on... There are some mixed views. You know, some said that that they should be in special needs schools and they shouldn't be allowed to mix.
One of the parents did raise a very valid point that teachers have to be trained really to understand and to be able to accommodate whatever the child's needs may be. But integration is a huge part of it. And I think that was also a huge misconception to assume that there are schools for these children, because there aren't sufficient schools. Most of them are private and cost a lot of money, which many families just don't have the resources for.
When you say cost a lot of money, what are you talking about? What kind of cost? Lowest to highest?
Lowest could be, my knowledge, lowest could be as much as a regular private school, maybe $5,000 a term. The highest that I personally have heard is $20,000 a term. And added to that is the building maintenance costs, the security fees, all the other add-ins. So 20,000 is the minimum that I've heard. I've also heard that there are more.
Laura, when we were talking earlier, you had mentioned that there are some new schools that go as much as $6,700 a month now.
67,000.
Oh, right.
$1,000 a month.
Wow.
Yeah. I do agree with some of what I heard said. I don't agree with some of what I heard said. The ignorance is real. And this is why Cause and Effect was started, in a sense. You know.
Tell us about Cause and Effect.
Cause and Effect was started in 2013 because my husband and I, after doing some research and him going back to UE to do a particular master's degree, we decided that we wanted to tackle apathy and ignorance in the society as relates to disabilities and special needs. And so Cause and Effect was formed. Now, our long-term goal, because there are so many areas that need to be addressed and covered when it comes to disabilities and special needs, but because we have a severely disabled son, one of our concerns is what will happen when we die. And so the long-term goal is to build sustainable assisted living communities. However, in order for that to have any sort of traction, we have to sensitize the society, we have to educate people, we have to enlighten people, because the kinds of comments we heard there, again, some of the points were fairly valid, and some some were not.
It's okay, we don't have to be politically correct on the show. It's
left me a little speechless.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what always needs to be considered is that our children with disabilities and special needs are human beings first. They're human beings, and that means they have an inherent right to life. They're here, and the society is what enables or disables. And if we are not providing the support systems, the physical infrastructure, the infrastructure that's needed through policy and legislation, which is where it all begins, healthcare, education, social integration, if we are not doing those things, if we're not tackling them adequately, which is what has been happening for a long time, we do things in bits and pieces, you know, and almost backwards. You know what I mean? So we need to stop doing that, and we need to be a society that is more enabling and thoughtful. And again, that is why cause and effect exists and was started. So
I'm hearing two things from you, right? One, you have administration, so you have policy. But then you also have awareness, and you have the general public. Rachel, I'm going to tune you in here now, because when we first met, when we were speaking, you were talking about something as simple as going to the grocery. You know, I can't imagine what going to the grocery would be like for you. And when we spoke, you'd said, you know, what the reaction of people in the grocery. Can you share that story for us?
Well, Catalia is in a very rare case, right? Whereas in doctors aren't too sure what she is. She has some characteristics of autism, but they said that she's not autistic. So they're waiting for genetic testing to do on Catalia to figure out what she is, but they're waiting for government to release the funds to get the test done.
Let's pull the audience in for a little bit. Tell me the age, where she's at developmentally.
Okay, Catalia, she is, this is a lot, eh? Okay, let me take the time. She is 6, right? She is unable to talk, still in Pampers. She does hear very well. She goes to the Child Development Clinic in Mount Hope, where Dr. Dick, the head of the department, sees her. Dr. Dick is a wonderful doctor. I thank God for Dr. Dick. Catalia also sees Mr. Felix, who is a cognitive specialist. And developmentally wise, it's a little hard to explain in a nutshell, because I cannot get her to write, but she could go on a tablet and she chooses what she wants to watch. She could go up on YouTube and watch whatever she wants to watch. She sits down quite calmly on her tablet. Without her tablet, she would sit down and she would be like bouncing. But I would call it in a bouncing motion. And what is so upsetting to me is that, okay, I'm not the only parent with a child like this, right? There are a lot of children with special needs who are falling beneath the cracks, right? Because there is nothing in this country in place for special children. And people need to understand that it is a myth. Get over the myth. There's nothing in place for special children. If it is you have the money, then you could do all what you need to do for your special child. If you're like myself, who had to stop working and stay home with your special child, then therefore, what is going to happen? And like what I keep telling people, if society and government thinks that they have a problem now, within the next 20 or 30 years, they're going to have a bigger and a huger problem. Because if it is these children who are not diagnosed properly because there's no funding to do the genetic tests on children like that, then therefore they wouldn't get the medical care that they need. So if they don't get the medical care that they need, then therefore their problem is going to get worse. And when that time comes, wouldn't it be a strain on society? Parents like myself, we have other children. So if it is I am unable to provide, not just for Catalia, but for my other children, because education is the key, then therefore what am I going to be breeding? I'm not going to be breeding productive members of society. It's not my fault, it's not Catalia's fault. I had to stop work this year about her, right? But there are a lot of parents below the poverty line, and there's no assistance at all, and it's hard and it's stressful. And going in the grocery with Catalia, when you're thinking that people will be sympathetic, people watch you, they skin up the face, they scold, because Catalia cannot take crowds. Catalia may want to touch or she may throw down something, she may make a funny noise, and people don't understand that she's making a funny noise. You don't have to stare at her like if you know she's an alien or something. She does have feelings and she does understand, although she cannot talk. So that's in a nutshell.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for that story. I mean, I know this is the first time Michelle and Laura have a little bit more experience in terms of being in front of the camera and fighting for the rights of your child. You know, sometimes I feel as though, and maybe you guys could tell me, but I'm grateful in a way sometimes for the mothers who were blessed with children with special needs, because I know that I've known Laura for a really long time, and she has the fight that it will take to bring about such change, you know, and I am really grateful for women like yourselves, because just like you, I mean, Laura had a great singing career, you know, and it's a bunch of selfless mothers who say, you know what, I'm gonna step back, put my life on hold, take care of my child, and then past take care of my child, I'm going to dedicate my life to helping the next generation. What we fight for now and what we sacrifice for now will help the next generation. We have to go to break now. When we come back, we're gonna watch Science with Jess. This segment is for the kiddies and for the moms who need some non-media things to keep their children entertained. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back.
With over 50 years of trusted excellence, Target Corned Beef is the leading brand you know and trust. Choose the more delicious, leaner option. Target Corned Beef in regular, halal, and less salt. Available at stores nationwide.
An Answer McCall Group company.
Why should you use lotion on your legs?
To avoid the feeling of heaviness.
So I can stand up all day.
Walking up and down the stairs.
With these heels.
With these heels.
To show them off.
Helps me a lot with orange skin from moisturising.
For a glowing look. Always beautiful.
And you? What lotion do you use?
Go-Ka-Chair.
Go-Ka-Chair.
Obviously. Me. Go-Ka-Chair.
There is no other.
Go-Ka-Chair. The dermo-cosmetic formula that combines health and beauty to refresh, moisturise, relax legs. And it even acts on areas with spider veins.
Go-Ka-Chair.
Specialised in beautiful legs.
Try it. You'll never stop using it.
Parenting is an adventure, and like any other adventure, you've got to work hard and be prepared.
The quest is on.
We're in search for all things parenting. We hear from the kids, from the professionals, and from you, real parents on real issues.
Hey, the adventures of parenting.
Hey, tune in every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on CNC3. Welcome back to Care. Today it's all about children with special needs, and we are joined by three amazing moms. If you're just joining us, Michelle Foreman is from Autism Spirit. Autism Spirit is all about giving moms a place to vent. Rachel Wilson has joined in the activism, and Laura Eskai, Cause and Effect, all about raising awareness for autism. Before we get back into the conversation, it's all about Science with Jess. So I think today we're learning about respiration.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Hey, Jess. Hello. So today we're going to talk all about respiration. What is respiration?
You hear that?
Well, what?
You hear that?
What?
You guys hear that?
What?
It's like I'm hearing. Hey, this is what it is.
You're nuts.
Ah, yeah, I could hear it. You can't hear it. Listen. Listen to that. You not hearing them? Like, ah!
Hey.
Do you know what this is called?
Yes. It's yeast.
Yeast. Do you know that yeast is alive?
Yep.
Yeah? Do you know that right now they're all down there dancing, singing, swimming around?
Nope.
No? Can't you see it? Look closer.
No water.
Look closer. Nothing? No? All right. Well, tell you what. I'm going to prove to you how alive these guys really are. Because what we're going to do is When you breathe in, what do you breathe in? When you do,
Oxygen.
and when you blow out, what do you blow out?
Carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide. Very good. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how when we give the sugar over here to the yeast is going to eat the sugar and then it's going to breathe out carbon dioxide.
And also which trees need.
Yeah, trees do need carbon dioxide, exactly.
Including dogs, cats, turtles.
That's a whole nother episode, but we'll get to that eventually. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take turns. Jess, you're going to add the sugar to this bottle and then you're going to add the yeast. Okay. All right, so come over here, Jess. Take that spoon and add the sugar to the bottle.
All of it?
Not all. Good bit of it. Great. All right.
Add all of these.
What I'm going to do now, I'm going to shake this up.
Pour your finger.
Yep.
Oh.
That's nice.
Yuck.
Now you're going to add the yeast.
Just pour it in.
Yep, just pour the yeast in.
Ooh. And it floats.
All right. Now, put the balloon over the top.
There's my glasses.
There you go. Let me drink. You hold the bottle
Always
around
need glasses for science. Safety comes first.
All right. So now we're going to leave this here and we are going to wait and watch it fill up. All right. So start counting.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5006, 5007, 5008, 5009, 5010. Where are the kids going? Where are the kids?
I'm too tired.
It looks like a foot. I found a foot.
That's my
Anybody missing a foot?
That's my foot.
I've got 2 feet. You see that? Whoa. The yeast broke down all of the sugar, turned it into carbon dioxide, and now that balloon is filled all the way up.
Explode. Wait, but kids, I need to tell you that if you leave this balloon for too long, it shall explode.
What? It's going to explode?
Yeah, if it explodes, children, you need an adult by your side for this
I'm not saying my head for this one.
No, we need you. We're just kids. Where's kids?
It's going to explode.
No, it's not going to explode yet. You're mad. Bye.
Why are you drinking almond milk? You can't have milk? I'm not lactose intolerant, but Naturally Almond has 35% less calories than 2% dairy milk and 50% more calcium. Plus, with half the recommended daily amount of vitamin E, which contains antioxidant properties, it gives my skin that extra glow. Who needs milk? The fact that Naturally Almond is lactose and gluten-free is just the icing on the cake.
So once you're 18 years and over, send us an email with your name, contact number, and your crew to sunnyatsundown@gmail.com. Children under 18 must be accompanied by an adult. Come check us out. Be a part of our studio audience. Sunny at Sundown. See you then.
Welcome back to Care. Today it's all about children with special needs. If you're just joining us, Michelle Foreman, Autism Spirit, Rachel Wilson, another amazing mom joining the fight for our children, and Laura Eskai, Cause and Effect. Guys, I know inclusion is a big thing. We saw in the very beginning of the show that public's perception is, we still have a far way to go with regards to public perception. What do you want from John Public? You know, I mean, I still don't feel like I'm equipped. I don't know. Am I watching funny? Am I asking the right words? Am I addressing the child correctly? Is it disability? Is it special needs? How do we make sure that we're not, you know, stepping on toes? You know, I mean, sometimes it's really just, we just don't know. You know, we don't mean to be harsh. We don't mean to. What are some of the things, what's some advice? You know, let's start with Michelle. I mean, Michelle actually wrote for the magazine and she had done, what not to say to an autistic parent. And you had dealt with a lot of stuff, sleeping, eating, stuff like that. Talk about some of the taboos that we just don't understand.
I think a huge part of it is, as you just said, a lot of people don't understand. And the easiest way to understand is to listen, to ask a question. So instead of seeing a child...
I don't want to ask a stupid question.
Where
you roll your eyes at me because I sound like, oh my gosh, why are you so clueless?
As a parent of an autistic son, I think in most instances, I can tell when a question comes from a genuine place, when somebody really wants to know something, as opposed to a parent who... that child need a lash, that child need discipline in their life. We can tell. So sometimes... no, a parent may not say the right words. They may use what's called identity first instead of person first, where you speak about autism instead of the child. And there are some people who would be offended by that. But when the greater goal is to create awareness and to give me an opportunity to explain to you, well, this is what happens with my son. This is what happens sometimes with a lot of autistic children. Then that means a lot to us when we can get that listening ear and that that degree of empathy, as opposed to, that child just need licks, they need discipline, when in my day you couldn't do those kind of things.
Mm-hmm. It's funny you talk about my day, because a lot of the older generation are saying, well, we didn't have any of these issues. Is it that autism is a new thing? I mean, what's the difference? What's the difference? Because a lot of the old generation thinks that, we're just coming up with things now.
Let me tell you, we are currently working. So, Cause and Effect, we do these series.
Yes.
And to tackle that issue of ignorance, we're working on something called the ABCs of disabilities that will go on television. And basically it will break down for people. So then you will have no excuse, public, okay? That will basically go from A to Z with disabilities to help people understand, because people from government offices, across corporations, in schools, throughout the country cannot even define for you, if you ask them, what a disability is, what it means. A person who's elderly can have a disability because of the degenerative condition they develop with their brain, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, where they basically forget who they are and who their families might be and that kind of thing. And so people really need to begin to get a good grasp and understanding from the grassroots, go right up across the board. Because not understanding is what affects, as funny as it may sound, everything from how those policies are drafted and the legislation implemented to what's happening in the health ministry with decisions being made, to education, which upsets me tremendously at times.
Well, I'm about to ask, and politicians obviously are not going to like this part, but sometimes it seems as if those that are making the decisions, you wonder, is it that they're not inviting the relevant authorities on the matter?
Sometimes they are inviting people, but they're not doing it. They're not doing it in a manner. They're not doing it. And I don't like the word government because I'll be honest, I don't like the word government because it's not necessarily the government. It's people who work in government agencies. So you have a disabilities affairs unit. And their responsibility is to understand fully what's going on with the disabled population in its entirety, and then begin to work on drafting after consulting with us about policies that will then go to Parliament. But that's not really happening in the manner that it should, because people are not thinking. So you're going to have a consultation, but the consultation is not widely advertised, so people don't know about it. And then it's put in a place. It's put in.
I'm seeing Michelle's face going like.
It's put in a place, a location, where there's no wheelchair accessibility. Persons like Rachel, like myself, like Michelle, who have children who are, in my case, my son is severely disabled. He does not have autism, but he's severely disabled. And I don't have anybody I can just leave my son with. So they're not taking into consideration those of us who, for example, may have children who are severely affected and cannot just come out to a consultation. Are you going to try to electronically reach us? What are you doing?
Right.
You know?
There are other ways.
So, yeah.
We can get past the face-to-face these days.
Tackling, to just round up what I'm saying, tackling the issue is something that it's always been there. I have a guy who's 62, one of my lions from my upcoming Lion series, 62, and he has Asperger's autism. And he was never diagnosed until he was an adult. And in his life, I have to say, he suffered tremendously, to the point where he was almost excommunicated from the community he lived in. Wow. You know? So we're now trying to tackle all this stuff, which is good, but we have to start at the bottom, and the bottom is awareness. And again, I don't like the word awareness. Awareness means, to me, are you seeing this cup here? Yeah, I'm seeing it. Are you seeing the water around it? No, I'm choosing to ignore the water that's around it. Mm-hmm. But I'm seeing the cup. Yeah. The cup is there. Dismissive. But if I'm acknowledging your individuality and saying, I am acknowledging that you're a child, or that you as a human being, you are dealing with a specific condition that you have no control over. This is how you are. And I need to help enable you to live a full life because you deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. Then we're talking about recognition of individuality, humanity, you as a human being. And that is what we have to foster in the society to usher in the social model, which is the society enables the person with the disability. Enables or disable. So I think right now we're disabling. As a society, we are just disabling our persons with disabilities over and over and over. And as Rachel said, in about 20 years, we're going to have a boom, a massive boom of severely disabled children who have become adults, because I know a lot of them. Yes. Parents are dying, leaving them. There's nobody to care for them. You know, are they going to be homeless? Are they going to be put in overcrowded institutions? What's happening?
These are some real questions. When we come back, we actually have a question from you, the audience, because we come back with our Dear Marsha segment. Don't go anywhere. You're watching K.
Sugar.
I know that.
You trust people you know.
People you see every day.
That's why you're on
every block,
on every corner,
in every community,
in every city.
We are where you are.
And that's why you trust us.
Beauty queen of only 18, she had some trouble with herself.
From its iconic skyline to its major fashion cred, China's vibrant modern metropolis makes the perfect backdrop for the world's sexiest runway. Tune in to the Victoria's Secret Fashion Show 2017, live from Shanghai, China, Tuesday, November 28th at 11 p.m. on CNC3.
Hi, welcome back to Care. Today it is all about a very special forum, Children with Disabilities. We're joined, if you're just joining us, by Michelle Foreman, Autism Spirit, Rachel Wilson, who's now joining the fight, but all her passion, you know, I think it's a good thing because then we need like a relay, you know, a relay team, a tag team. Yeah. And we have Laura Eskai, no stranger to the media from Cause and Effect. We're going to take a question now in our Dear Marsha segment. Dear Marsha is sponsored by Look Opticians. Thank you very much, Look, for seeing the vision. Let's hear what the public has to ask. Dear Marsha, after watching your videos, especially about the one with the tags, I'm beginning to wonder if my son has some kind of autism, maybe high functioning. Where do I start?
Take it away, Michelle.
I thought that was going to be thrown at me.
I could, but...
So, I mean,
that is a real one.
It is.
That's a real one.
And I will tell you something. Before my son was diagnosed, that was a huge challenge for him. Yeah. And I was clueless. Yeah. The word autism never entered my mind. I never thought that it was a problem. I thought he was fussy.
Right.
Okay. I was fortunate. Principal of a primary school saw him, saw my son, and then had the discussion with me. I think this is something we need to get checked. If you are looking with regards to the public system, Mount Hope Child Development Unit is the best place to go. The wait can be a bit much, but from the time you think there is a problem, take your child there. Put their name, if even it's on a waiting list, get their name down on that waiting list. And then in the meantime, you start to read up. Start to think about, okay, are there any other characteristics of autism? Maybe sensory issues, because the tag is a sensory issue. Okay? You see a little tiny tag. They see
feel the sun
a cactus on their back digging into their skin. So it can manifest in a lot of different ways, but start reading up while you're waiting on that appointment, and then let Dr. Dick at Mount Hope guide you through.
How do we get rid of the taboo of it? Because you might have been really receptive to it, right? But
I wasn't.
No, you weren't.
No.
Okay, so how do we, because I coach kids, right? I mean, I've been blessed to be able to homeschool, you know, and even myself, you know, sometimes, we took Jessie to get some kind of check done, you know, because it was just a situation where she would just break down. It was literally, we were learning and spelling, and she would just go crazy. I mean, anyone who's ever met her, she's an angel, but she would literally have. And I remember you speaking about once a meltdown is not a tantrum, you know? So that's when that's how I started to understand, are these meltdowns? Because it was like just crazy, you know, like the way the 0 to 100 turned into Hulk because the spelling, like, you're home, Jess. Yeah. It's okay if you can't get the spelling and you know, and it was really, and so fortunately, I did have a friend who is a homeschooling mom. God sends angels, and she was able to assess it for me free of charge. I mean, I thank God every day.
Yeah.
And she was able to say, you know, that it's not a disability, you know, because that's the whole thing, right? It's such a wide spectrum.
It's a broad spectrum.
It's so huge. And as you say, you know, if we can't even diagnose, how do we start, you know? And that was always a big issue for me, right? Because we know, okay, her working memory isn't where it should be. Her processing isn't where it should be. So she gave us things that we can start to work on. So we massage with like the bath thing, but on dry skin to help her to get accustomed. We have a lot of things that we work on with working memory. But Jessie, if you see her, appears like any typically developing child.
And that's another issue.
And if she was in that public system, I mean, God help us.
Yeah.
So how as a parent do you even begin to start to think, maybe she's autistic, maybe I need to start to get her?
I just want to add to what Michelle said. In addition to the Child Development Clinic at Mount Hope, There's also a pediatric community clinic that's run by a Dr. Bahadur Singh
in South.
Yes. And he is he does autism. He's an autism diagnostic specialist as well. So he's able to diagnose. So for people who might be in the South area, Central, you know, they can always go to the San Fernando hospital, I think, to find him. And then from there, he also has these community clinics in like Couva and a few other places. I will put it up. I'm supposed to put it up on the Disabilities Forum page on Facebook. I will do that soon. Now that this person asked, I'm like, okay, I really have to do it.
Usually, if you go to any of the health centers, they will direct you to the best option in terms of Mount Hope, in terms of South. Dr. Bahadur Singh, Dr. Ramcharan as well, I believe, operates out of Mount Hope, as well as
She
Arima.
used to be there,
Also, so but the health centers are able to direct you to where you can get the specific doctor to see your child. Going back to your question, really, how do you start to even ask that question? I think a lot of it has to do with putting yourself in your child's shoes and really thinking about why are they displaying this behavior? If it's a tag, if it's a meltdown versus tantrum issue, and understanding the difference. That's one of my pet peeves.
There's
I know you have
learn,
seen me.
But there's just a lot to learn because, I mean, I know from my side, and I mean, I'm well informed. My job is to be informed about parenting, and there's just so much that's not known. We do have to go to a break. When we come back, we do talk Christmas, and I'd like to hear how you guys handle Christmas. I know. Don't go anywhere, guys. It's all about care. It's all about children with special needs. We'll be right back.
One person. One person.
One person. One person.
One voice.
One voice.
One voice.
One voice.
Can change the entire world.
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 Dream of possibilities.
Reach beyond our grasp.
Embrace innovation. Educate all children.
Respect our planet.
A single person, one voice, can inspire hundreds, thousands, millions of people.
Live from Las Vegas, Miss Universe 2017, Confidently Beautiful. Sunday, November 26th at 8 p.m. Live on CNC3. Want to lose those stubborn extra pounds? Ready to heal your mind and body? Well, there are no more excuses because now there is Fitness Plus. Hosts Natasha Ali Thomas and Arya Nanan bring you 20 episodes each month. 10 new episodes with 10 repeats, just in case you missed it. Fitness Plus, every weekday at 5:30 a.m., 10:30 a.m., and 4:30 p.m. Only on CNC3.
Welcome back. Today we have a very special show for very special children. It's all about children with children with disabilities. Today we're joined by Michelle Foreman, Autism Spirit. Find her on Facebook. She's doing great stuff. Rachel Wilson, a parent of a child, a beautiful child with a disability. So she's joined in the fight because that's what moms do, right? We fight for our kids with all we have. And we have Laura Eskai, Cause and Effect. We are going to talk Christmas. Before we talk about Christmas with a disability, we have a Christmas tip for you. Let's go to a Care Christmas tip. If I sing and I dance, bear with me. Christmas during financially rough times can be difficult, even when you understand the reason for the season. While we may understand it and do our best to pass those values on to our kids, we are still exposed to family and friends, and it can be very embarrassing when you simply have nothing to gift wrap and give when you're invited to the family's get-together. That happened to Jess and I one year, and what came out of it was the best present ever. We handmade Christmas tree ornaments with a special message to each of our family members. Needless to say, they loved it. In fact, I think it ranked high up among the best presents ever. The best presents are those rich in love and require very little money. Yeah, it gave me goosebumps actually when we were, I think the whole show gives me goosebumps because of course the genesis of the show is sharing my own journey. And I know you guys know how emotional it is when you share your own journey. Mm-hmm. For me, I wanted to do Christmas tips because I love the season, I really do. But the truth is, it can be really tough. I mean, that's a true story. Everybody's there, like, loving the whole Christmas. And I'm a single mom with a kid. We didn't have no money. Mm-hmm. We didn't have no pastel. We didn't have no ham. We have nothing, And I mean, prior to that, we had a big job, right? Mm-hmm. So Jessie went to private school and, our network spent a whole sort of money and you come in this and you come in that and we're like, no, we're good. We're good. Yes, we didn't even taste ham yet. Yeah. How? And then you have this get together to go to. There, people thinking you're a Scrooge because you don't want to go. It's not that you don't want to go, but it's embarrassing. It's to the point of what am I gonna go with? I have nothing to go with. And I mean, all these lessons, because we just decided, look, this is not what Christmas is about. Yeah. And we dug deeper. Mm-hmm. We tuned the world out. Mm-hmm. We tuned society out. And really and truly, in the end, I mean, they had no idea. All our secrets are coming out now, all the struggle that we struggled. But they had no idea that it was sheer desperation because we had nothing. All we had to give was love. But society says that I can't hand wrap that now. I can't wrap that up and tell you I love you and that be good enough.
Bah humbug. I listen. I'm not a Christmas person. I'm not going to lie to you. I know the reason for the season. I love Jesus. Okay, I do. Like most other people, not everybody, but most people. But I'm a bit of a loner. So for me, I think I'm not the best person to answer the question. It doesn't bother me if I'm invited out. It doesn't bother me to go and please anybody to give them gifts. No, I really don't feel bad.
I wish I could take some of that from Laura.
If I don't have it, I just don't have it. I mean, my husband and I, our background. We're in entertainment. We've been for a long time. And the truth is, there's just about 1% in entertainment making all the money. So, I mean, you do what you can. The most important thing is you make it as good as you can for your kids. We have 2 other daughters. Yes, are they going to fuss if whatever they wrote to Santa asking for they don't get? Yes, they're going to fuss. But I'll come up with a good excuse. But, you just do the best you can. And like you said, I love what you said when you said you had to drown out society, because that is what I think also the experience with Isaiah has fostered in us, which is you have to drown out everything. And you just have to have this focus, this laser focus.
And that's not even just a Christmas tip. That's a life tip. 365 days a year.
When we were at break, you guys were telling me a little bit about Christmas for you. Again, some of the things that people take for granted. Being in a line to line up for Santa Claus. Rachel, tell us the story. Tell our audience the story.
I thought it was so cute. Catalina was a little smaller. And I thought it was so cute. Everybody was lining up to see Santa Claus and take pictures and stuff. So I lifted up Catalina, and she was a little impatient. I said, yeah, what? You're going to see Santa Claus. I'm going to get into the Christmas spirit. Although Catalina is my 4th child, And, oh gosh, when we reached close, and it was her time to go to Santa Claus after standing in that line, and I lifted her up because she was a little chubby at the time. She started bawling and screaming and throwing a nasty tantrum, and everybody watching me like, And I'm trying to get Catalina, please behave. It's Santa Claus. And she's getting on like if this person coming to kill her. So I have learned to focus and not be embarrassed. I've learned to focus on Catalina and stop doing what I want to do and do what Catalina wants to do. Don't be going Christmas parties because they have a lot of Christmas parties. Don't be forcing Catalina to go to Christmas parties. So the teenagers, I've let them go to the Christmas party and I will stay home with Catalina because she can't handle the crowd and the all of that. So I've learned to think about Catalina and not myself.
Can I hug you, girl?
Boy, that's another lifelong. That's not just children with disability. Because a lot of parents, we try to live vicariously through our kids, and we try to do what we want to do. Like this is what we want to do. So let's do it. But that's actually not what they want to do. And that's some heavy advice there. That's really good advice. Start to listen to our kids and do what they want to do, not what we have in our heads. Michelle, what's Christmas like?
I mean, my son loves Christmas. I love Christmas, but
you're in red.
We just always have to accept though that sometimes he can't handle the overwhelmingness of it. So we will keep our Christmas shopping Saturday morning as early as possible. Get there when the mall opens. And usually I won't ever do it on my own. I need to have another adult with me so that if it really gets to the stage and he's going to have a meltdown, I can focus, get him in control, and the other adults handles the bags and whatever else.
Chuck E. Cheese did not sponsor this at all, but I'm gonna have to say, Chuck E. Cheese, I want to give a personal kudos to them. They are doing a processing. It's what do you call it?
Early sensory.
Sensory Sundays.
That's what I
No,
it's not here.
Okay, not local.
It's not local.
No,
Oh,
as yet.
But it was a
As yet. It's not local as yet.
Yeah, it was a foreign thing.
Well, that's okay. We big up Chuck E. Cheese locally.
I mean, they do
that's
have a lot of resources. They have done it once before.
I think it's
definitely,
a great idea.
And
maybe we can start to champion the malls to do something like that. Open the malls an hour earlier for families with sensory issues, for disabilities, and they can come in earlier. Malls, if you're listening, open an hour earlier.
Can I pick up McDonald's? Because McDonald's is one fast food restaurant. You go in, there is the changing table. You could change your child. When you, like for myself, I'm coming from a humble setting. When you have a special child, you have to put your child to lie down or whatever. Right? Places like KFC, although my daughter loves KFC, they don't have anything in place. I shouldn't say it, I'm sorry. Right? But in McDonald's, I was so amazed, and I love the experience going to McDonald's with her, because whenever I have to change her pampers, she is 6 and she has a little size something. I can say, all right, mama, lie down. It makes it easier for parents who have children with disability.
I like their fries.
Guys, it's been amazing. Very quickly, check Autism Spirit out. You are on social media. Cause and Effect, also on social media. Any final comments you have? Less than 10 seconds.
Please reach out to someone, hear their story, be a friend.
Be empathetic.
Empathetic, yes.
Be empathetic.
Don't give up the fight. It's the beginning of a whole new, beautiful life, and seeing it through a whole different set of eyes. That's about all I can say.
And I would like to empower and encourage government to please stop dragging their feet. There are a lot of special children who are falling beneath the cracks. Special children deserves a fighting chance. Please put things in place for special children. Other countries are doing it. What happened to Trinidad?
It's been a pleasure, ladies. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you to our audience. Thank you to Naturally Almond, our sponsor for this episode. And of course, Look Opticians for Dear Marsha. It's been wonderful. See you next week on Care. This episode of Care was brought to you by Naturally Almond.